Building long-lasting relationship with your student is the best way to build a solid income from tuition. And the best way to do this is by helping students to make good progress. The better your students do, the more likely that the parents is going to continue to use you as a tutor. So how can tutor retain their students? In this video, we will be talking about the 6 strategies to do so. Number 1, be positive, especially when you notice that the student is not progressing. Rather than being frustrated, that will really strain the relationship between the tutor and the student, and that is not going to improve the situation. It is better to find new ways, especially when trying to explain complicated terms or an area of the subject that the student is not getting. So it is good to be able to move on to other topics and subjects and then probably come back later on the subject that the student is struggling. So that way the student is able to continue to show confidence and pick up, and hopefully as time goes by, the student will be less frustrated and able to pick up the lesson. Number 2, regularly comment good progress on the part of the student, especially when we notice that the student is doing well in a certain subject or an understanding. It is good to show commendation to them. That will help them to boost their confidence on the subject. And also we have to do that with the parents as well. We need to review with the parents and comment to the parents on behalf of the student how well that the student is doing and how much progress that they have done. And when we do that, that will not just strengthen our relationship with the student but also with the parents, and that will assure a longer relationship with the parents. And that will also motivate the parents to show empathy to us as tutors, especially when they will consider our circumstances, especially when they are planning their holiday. And because whenever they go for their holiday, that is going to greatly impact on our earnings or income. Number 3, keep the lessons fresh. A student is likely to get bored if every lesson, the lesson is the same, there's not much changes, and that is going to make the student feel that the lesson is boring. So what can we do in order to spice things up? Are we able to mix things up, such as using supplementary videos, books, or websites? Sometimes we may need to change the location of the lesson. I can remember when I have a science lesson with a student, instead of having it at a set room where we usually have the lesson, I decided to have the lesson outdoors. Of course, with the permission of the parents, we went outdoors into the garden and we did science experiment, and it was really fun, and that helped the student to keep motivated with the subject. Are we able to try using games, especially after teaching a topic, in order to gauge the comprehension of the student? Are we able to use games or even online games in order to ascertain how much they understand? That can go anything from teaching a student from math to teaching adult science. That can be very useful. Number 4 is to be flexible. Of course, our pupils from time to time, they need to go on a holiday, and as long as they give us due notice, can we be more accommodating and flexible in that manner? Especially when they go on holiday, that is going to greatly reduce our income, which sometimes it is difficult on our part. At the same time, we as tutors also have our own commitments. Sometimes we do need to go on holidays as well, as long as we give due notice to the parents. That should be fine, and we try to minimize doing that as whenever possible. Ideally, we can plan our holiday around the student's schedule. So that means that whenever the student goes for a holiday, we go for our holiday as well. That way, not just we are getting regular breaks, but at the same time, we can have more regularity of lesson with the student and that is going to help us to increase our income or earnings. Number 5 is regular feedback from the student as well as the parents. So regular feedback from the student, meaning that from time to time we can try to ask the student, how do they find our lesson? Are they enjoying our lesson? Is there something that they like? Is there something that they don't like? If there's something that they don't like, what can we do to improve the situation? So that is what we can look into in order to gauge how much interest and confidence that our students have for us and what we can do to improve it. At the same time, we also need to get feedback from the parents itself, because sometimes there's a problem between the students' progress and the parents' expectations. So sometimes it does not jive, it does not come together. Meaning to say that we may comment to the parents about how well the student is progressing, but actually the level of progress does not match the parents' expectation. So why is it that way? So good communication is needed. So whenever we communicate with the parents, we'll be able to understand what is the issue involved and help to explain to the parents to have a realistic expectation on their child's progress. Because sometimes parents may try to compare the progress of their child with other kids. That is quite negative. It is discouraging, because if we try to compare a child with another child, it is not realistic, because each child have their own ability and background and learning curve and so forth. So each child is different. But to be healthy, to be more positive, it is better to compare the child's progress 6 months ago, 1 year ago, and so forth. We can think about 6 months ago, 1 year ago, how was the child's progress, and now as compared to now, how much the child has improved. So that is a healthy way to see how much progress that the child is doing. At the same time, we can highlight how is the child's progress and the key strategies that we will employ in order to help the child to advance further. So with regular communication and feedback from the parents and the student, that is going to assure a greater retention of the students. Now let's go to number 6. Number 6 is to use humor. Studies have shown that the use of humor can have highly positive effects on students, and it greatly increases their level of engagement as well as interest. So it is good to be able to use humor to keep our students happy all the time, and they get motivated during each lesson. And I find that in order to retain the students, so certainly we are able to retain the students longer. In my experience, that happens not just for academic subjects, but also for non-academic subjects. Because I also teach swimming, I'm a swimming instructor. So one might think that to teach a child how to swim, it might take probably 3 months or 6 months only, because there's only 4 main strokes to teach, which is freestyle, breaststroke, backstroke, and butterfly. So how long is it going to take to help them to learn how to swim? But I'm able to retain my students for up to 1 year, 2 years or more. So how can that be possible? Because at the end of the day, when the student comes for swimming, he's not just learning swimming, he's actually learning ability to overcome obstacles. And with motivation and training and encouragement, the child is going to get more and more confident in handling obstacles. And when their child uses that in all academic subjects, they are able to excel as well. So hopefully you have benefited from the 6 strategies in order to retain your students. And please subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next video. See you.